Well, part of the MAHA movement has been calling attention to the massive increase in child cancers across the United States, cancers that we've heretofore never seen in children. Why is the United States such a hotbed of cancers? Does it come right from our food supply, our highly processed food supply, or something else? Well, an underreported part of this surge in cancer rates is also affecting our pets, our dearest, our dearest part of our family, that we would be crushed if we had to lose our pets early. What is going on with our food supply? What is going on with this surge in cancers across the United States? Well, two individuals who made it their mission to try to help our pets, try to reverse these cancers, show incredible signs of bringing life back to our four-legged friends. Kurt and Kristen Ludlow, the founders of Pet Club 24/7. Now, we've had them on before, a couple of years ago here on the show, and just an overwhelming response from our audience about what they were able to do to help our pets. And we thought, you know what, let's do a deeper dive. Now that we've got RFK Jr. at HHS, now we've got a Trump administration, which we didn't have before. We were still dealing with the Biden administration. And what can we do to make our families and our pets healthier? We decided to invite them back on the show. Kurt and Kristen, welcome back to the show. Great to see you guys.
Thank you. Great to see you as well.
Well, first of all, just at a high level, how excited are you guys that we have an administration now that's embracing these types of tough questions about cancers and the sort of surge that we've been seeing, not just among, humans, but in our pet population?
It's so encouraging to see what's happening, how much light is being shed into these areas where there are many voices that have been speaking out for a while, and everyone thought they were crazy. So it's so exciting to see this administration embracing that, asking the same questions, finding the answers, because it's only when we ask those questions and find those answers that we can actually implement solutions and change the way things are happening for the better, for our country and for our households, on a local level.
I mean, you guys have seen these surges in cancers, and I know this has been a big part of why you guys even started your company, a number of years ago. I think most people just don't understand, like, why in the United States, like, where are these cancers coming from? And now that we're seeing them in such young, in a young population, like, what have you guys noticed in your research and over the past few years?
Well, in the 70s, the average age of a golden retriever was 17. Today, that age is 9. And if you look at what's going on with statistics,
Really?
I mean, as many as 65% of our pets are going to get cancer today. They live long enough, 50% show that they're going to die from cancer. 1 in 3 allergies, 6 million new cases of diabetes every single year. They're medicating them with human medications. And all these things combined with, the foods, treats, and toys that they're eating are causing a lot of these conditions to happen. And so, like the MAHA movement, we have the MAHA movement ourselves, make animals healthy again. And it really truly is just looking into, the foods, treats, and toys that our pets are eating. And so we've done a lot to combat that and put nothing but great ingredients in our product.
So this mission for you started, I mean, at a personal level. Can you talk about the friends and family that you were seeing who were seeing their pets being devastated by these diseases? And were you able to track it down to our food supply, or was it something else?
Yeah, we were able to track it down. It's primarily been the food for both people and pets. The same thing that's happening to people is happening to pets. They're compromising, they're exchanging quality ingredients for fillers. Most of the foods now are synthetic, artificially sourced. Their bodies don't know how to metabolize that or process it when they're eating it. So they're fighting against the very food that we're giving them to keep them alive. But it goes even further than that. A lot of the chemicals that we clean with and put in our yards and around our house are being absorbed directly into their bloodstreams. There's so much that they're exposed to that's weakening their immune system, and their immune systems get so weakened to the point where these horrible things can take over their bodies and ultimately take their life. And you really hit the nail on the head when you said a little earlier that in pets, those conditions are not reportable. So it could even be higher than what we know. That's just the data based off of what we know. But they do not report all the instances of that. So this is a really big problem. And just like what's happening with the administration in the human sector, we have to look into the pet supply sector as well and really examine what's going into these foods. What are these animal byproducts that we're finding euthanized animals and roadkill and animals that are too sick for human consumption being sold to pet food manufacturers at a discount? Why are they charring the kibble? They're cooking it at 400 degrees to make it faster so they can produce it faster, but it's charring the kibble and it's full of carcinogens. And many people, that's what our pets are eating every day of their life for every single meal. Carcinogens. And then we wonder why we have all these issues.
And then you get, just like we deal with like big pharma, you're dealing with like the big food dog food companies, right? So there were a couple of like natural dog food companies that we trusted a couple of years ago. And then you find out that they've been bought up by some of the big conglomerates. And then they change the formula from like natural ingredients to basically like grocery store garbage. And in order to speed up the process to get this stuff on the shelf and make it way cheaper for them to produce. So a lot of these sort of like natural dog foods that people were buying that were like, I love this brand. And I'm not going to mention any brands, but I know for a fact, in fact, I know somebody who works at one of these companies that was bought out by one of the big pet food conglomerates. They totally changed their formula. They got rid of all the stuff that made them what the company was, all the natural good stuff, replaced it with garbage.
Absolutely. It's so sad that this is happening. And, it really is going to take us just stepping up and being more intentional with where we're shopping and where we're choosing to spend our money and who and what we're supporting. Because at the end of the day, most of these manufacturers and these conglomerates, it's all about the dollar. They don't care about the impact that it's having on their pets. Maybe it wasn't malicious intent at the beginning. Maybe it was just, oh, let's, increase our margins. Let's make these little changes here and there. But what's happened over time as it's compounded, it's at the point now where a lot of this stuff is knowingly happening and continuing, even though they know that it's happening. So we really have to respond and do something different altogether.
There were a few years ago when we had you guys on the show, we couldn't even, because of the Biden administration, because of the censorship, we weren't even able to put your interview up on YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you how things have changed, which I'm encouraged by, because now we can actually talk about some of the things that you guys have discovered. I mean, when you launched your company, take me back before you guys were popular, before you guys were like saving so many pets' lives. How did you guys start this company? Like, because maybe people don't understand. Oh, maybe they just think Kurt and Kristen, you guys just make pet food. No. It was actually way bigger than that, and I think that's why we want to get the message out about this. So, can you kind of take us back towards the beginning when you guys really saw the potential of sort of the natural foods that you were using to basically save dogs' lives, reverse some of these cancers and other things?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our partners here in the company, his mother, this was 28 years ago. She was dealing with a very severe condition that affected her lungs. She was attending Sloan Kettering out there in New York. They did everything medically they could for her. Nothing was working out. And unfortunately, it got down to where they had given her just a couple of months to live. He reached out to friends and family regarding her circumstances, and his cousin, who was involved in the medical field, in Japan, reached out to him and said, look, I've got something. I want to send it over to you. It just happens to be a mushroom in a capsule. We have a proprietary way we extract it, and we have what is considered the most potent strain of it. Give it to her. Let's just see if this could possibly help her at all. She starts taking it. After 30 days, she notices quite a considerable difference in the way she's feeling. Month 2, even more improvement. Month 3, she's felt as if the issue was no longer there. She goes back to Sloan Kettering 4.5 months after they sent her home. They run all the lab work on her and find that condition to no longer be there. Of course, they were flabbergasted. They wanted to know what she was doing. She explained, she supplied all that information to them. And that's where the first clinical study started here in the US on this mushroom that we put in our pet products. And now it's been studied by every major institution you can think of almost, MD Anderson, Harvard, Loma Linda. It's been published in the Library of Medicine many times. And what they concluded was it doesn't cure, mitigate, or prevent anything, but it gets the immune system running optimally again. It modulates it. And if we can get it working optimally, it's capable of resolving any type of issue, from the smallest of things to the most catastrophic. And so for years, they would get it out and share it with people, and people would report back incredible things. It wasn't just people sick. It was people that were wanted to be preventative, that wanted to be proactive versus reactive. And 8 years ago, They're sitting around, and one of our partners had lost a dog to cancer, another one a dog to cancer within just a couple of months of each other. And then two of their children did. And it was all within 4 months, all between the ages of 4 and 8. And that's when we really started digging in and wondering, what's going on. And that's when we started figuring out. And they looked and found that this mushroom was completely safe for animals. And knowing some of the great things it's doing for the immune system in people, they started it for the animals, and the results are incredible. And that's, of course, no bad ingredients in any of the products. Putting this mushroom in there, which is a whole food that doesn't interact with medications. You can't overdose. You can't get addicted. You can't take too much. It's just a whole food. And it has been amazing what it's been doing. People reporting the most incredible things back, but especially, the energy levels they see in their animals. They're acting 5 and 6 years younger. It's just really incredible.
And so, just to be clear, this isn't like preventing, curing, or anything. It's what it's doing is it's activating your own immune system to do what your body does naturally. So what the pet's body should be doing naturally is sort of like that little catalyst.
Exactly.
That's kicking things off.
Yes.
Exactly. And the greatest part about this is not some formulation that we put together. It truly was a discovery that we made. This very pure and potent strain. We've perfected the extraction process, and it's a whole food that feeds the immune system. So the immune system can do what it was intelligently designed to do: repair, rebuild, recover, rebalance, regulate everything that's happening inside of the body. It is absolutely incredible what the immune system is capable of, but we're never taught that. We're always told what's wrong with our bodies, but we're never told how to support it so that it can do what it needs to do the right way and the proper way to the capacity that it's able to do it. So this discovery has been helpful for dogs, cats, horses. Even after a couple of years, this is really funny. After a couple of years of seeing these turnarounds, these animals, we're noticing so much of a difference in them really quickly. And people are looking at us going, my pet doesn't know what a placebo is. They have no idea there's a mushroom in the cookie that I'm giving them, or this little gravy that I'm mixing with their food. They just think they're getting a treat. And they see their bodies responding so positively. So they started asking us, like, hey, can people take the same mushroom strain? Because this is incredible what we're noticing. And it's kind of funny. We let them know, like, this was actually tested on humans before we found out it was safe for animals. So we kind of did it backward. Wow. But that's why.
So it was human tested. It was human tested first. And they found out usually we tested on animals first. And that's crazy.
So
what sort of go ahead.
So we added the ability for people to get those same capsules that Kurt was sharing earlier. And it's just, God is so good. We've been seeing what's been happening for people when the same thing we've been seeing in pets, when they just start getting the natural support their bodies deserve, their body's able to do so much good for them.
Just talk about some of the testimonials here, because I think, I know a lot of these testimonials. I've read about them. I've seen it. So I know personally. But maybe for our audience that doesn't know about this, can you just give a few examples of some pets that you thought, well, they're just too far gone. They've got their bodies riddled with cancer. They just can't even jump up on a bed anymore. I thought they'd live another 10 years, but I don't know. I don't know what to do. And then they started taking this. Can you talk about some of that, or just give me an example, one or two?
Absolutely. One of our real close friends, he had posted on social media, had to put his best friend down. And I reached out to him and I just said, hey, what's going on? And he said, well, she's got a very bad autoimmune issue she's been dealing with for years. He said in the last year, it became so bad that oftentimes when she goes out on the cement or asphalt, her paw pads will just peel off. He goes, we dealt with that, but in the last year, it's become so bad that in the last month, it's become so bad. She's laying in the corner of her kitchen. Her hair's been coming out in clumps. Her eyes are crystallized, whited over. And he said she's got 7 lumps down her side. And he said, to be fair, the vet did not diagnose them as cancerous, but believes that they possibly could be. And he goes, Kurt, she's 14. She's a husky. They normally live to be 12. And I said, well, she eating? And he said, she is, but we have to carry her outside. And he goes, I'm just not ready. And I said, well, listen, we have a product. It's been doing wonderful things. It helps the immune system. Are you open to maybe giving it to her and seeing if this could possibly, improve some things or or prolong her life or something. He said, of course, we'd do anything. And so we took it over. He started giving it to her, and he called 4 days later, and I see him come over, and I said, hey, Kurt, and his name's Kurt as well. And he goes, what did you give my dog? That's exactly how he said it. Now, he said it in a tone he hadn't used with me before. And I was like, oh no, is everything okay? And he goes, she just jumped on the couch next to me. And I said, that's amazing. And he goes, you don't understand. She hasn't done this in a year and a half. He goes, could it be, this mushroom? And I said, well, I said, I mean, I can't answer that honestly. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it's doing for her immune system, but, possibly. And he said, well, he goes, I don't know what else it would be. There's nothing else we're doing. And so every day as he continued to give it to her, they saw improvement. She's going to the restroom on her own. After roughly around 30 days, they noticed that the crystallization cleared up in her eyes. They
Wow.
noticed that they figured she was seeing better, because before that she was running into things, and the hair wasn't coming out in clumps. The paw pads were no longer having issues, and between 6 and 8 months, those lumps were gone. And Zenta lived to be almost 20 years old, long-term.
What?
Yep.
Yeah, she lived another almost 5 years,
Yes.
and she was just shy of 20, and she passed due to an accident, not due to illness. Now, what's interesting, in the
Wow.
neighborhood that they would walk her in, there was another husky there, and he was a couple of years older than her. He was healthy, nothing wrong, but just getting old. And so he started taking it, or the owner started giving it to him, and he lived to be 23 years old for a husky, which is a tremendous age, because again, they normally live to be 12. So, we would see all types of things like that. My brother, his dog Batman, 9 years old, a little dachshund, they'd have to carry him up to bed at night, up the stairs, couldn't jump in his favorite chair. 10 days after being on the product, he calls me, he goes, Batman is running up and down the stairs. He's jumping in his favorite chair again. We can't even believe what we're seeing here with this. And that's the great thing about it is how pets and people can feel on this, the energy levels they have, how they're feeling younger, they're sleeping better, just a lot of great things like that as well, and just maintaining good health.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, I mean, it's like, all right, I want to start taking these every day myself. Yeah, it's crazy. Now, where do you think, hopefully you guys are getting the message out there. I mean, since we had you on the show last time, we had thousands of people reached out to you guys, and I know so many people from our audience just saw incredible results. And so I just want to thank you for that. I thank you for what you're doing with this, and I love that it's a natural. It's not something that you formulated or it's natural. Do you think we're going to see, I mean, are any larger like pet food companies right now trying to incorporate this into their brands? Or they're still saying, you know what, we just want to use this processed stuff and make your dog sick. They're going to get cancer, and that's the end of it. We just want to focus on our bottom line and make a lot of money.
Yeah. We hope that what's happening right now encourages change in these companies. But, when you try to turn an elephant, that can be really hard to do. And so we don't know what their response is going to be, but that's kind of why we are where we are today. And we want to be a voice for those that don't have one, because we can sit around and wait for these companies to make different decisions or change what they're doing, or we can wait to see if new regulations are passed so that it can protect our pets more, or we can just be the change that we want to see, start doing things differently, and all work together to really help our pets live longer, fuller, better quality of life, and that's what we feel called to do.
So if our audience, just to be clear, like I'm not an owner of your company in any way. I just think what you guys are doing is amazing. You guys have put together a special link for our audience where our audience will get 15% off anything that they buy, which is so nice of you to do. So we'll have a link in the description. It's just redacted.inc/pet club. So they can come over there and look at it. Again, we'll have the link in the description. 15% off. You guys are amazing. So when I'm on the website, like what, if I don't know what to do, right? I've got like, for instance, I have a little mini pincher. That's my dog. He's about 5 years old. Am I feeding him from your website like a particular type of food, and then I'm adding this sort of like gravy on top of it, or is it all incorporated? Can you give me a few examples of like what I would pick out for my dog?
Yeah, well, the core of what we do is really this mushroom strain, because like Kurt mentioned, it's pure, it's potent. We've perfected the extraction process. So we want to make sure that this mushroom is getting into every pet, every person, every day. So regardless of what type of food you're consuming or what you're exposed to, your body has a fighting chance, right? God built our immune system into us. It's our first defense for our pets and for ourselves. And so we want to make sure this Coriolis versicolor mushroom strain that we have is getting into the body. So that's what we recommend first and foremost. When you do go to the website and you click on the shop button, you'll see that there are options for dogs and cats and horses to be able to get this mushroom into their system. There are even several options for people, like capsules and natural gummies and little chocolate chip cookies, those are kind of addictive. They're really good. So that people can get it into their system as well. Then if we also do have some toys and some foods that are available for your pets that are 100% natural, made with human grade whole foods and human grade kitchens, like Kurt said, with no bad ingredients, where we want to be good stewards with what God has given us. And if you do that in conjunction with taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, it will really help to accelerate their progress, because then their bodies aren't constantly fighting against what they're eating and what they're playing with.
And everything is sourced and made right here in the USA. Yeah. And that's some of the problems. Some of the ingredients that some of the manufacturers bring from overseas have toxins and metals and things like that.
Radiation.
Run through CPMG facilities, so we prove everything is what it says it is. It's really great, and all the feeding instructions are on the back of them. But if I was going to recommend anything for people with their dogs or cats, the special sauce is a phenomenal product because of mushrooms in it. It also has chondroitin, carotene, and glucosamine. No synthetics, everything natural the way it should be, and again, no bad ingredients in it. And if a human's looking for something, the Enforce in the green bottle is the cheapest of the mushrooms that we sell, and that's been our flagship product that's in everything that's here. And one per every 50 pounds, just to maintain their health. If they're hoping to maybe see their immune system help or resolve something, maybe double up on it until they feel like that maybe has helped them, or they're looking for that renewed energy, and that would be the best method of doing so. And same with the pets. If there's something they're hoping to maybe change, maybe just double up on what's recommended for them.
Yeah, just on the website, looking at the special sauce, like I'm just, yeah, because we were moving and I didn't have a chance to get it, so now I'm ordering some right now, the special sauce for the dogs, so to be able to put on his dinner, and just be able to give him that. So really, really great. I love that. I love what you guys are doing, and I think this is a sea change right now with this MAHA movement. And I love to make our animals healthy again is wonderful, and hopefully we can get this stuff corrected in our food supply as well, because it's killing us right now. Thank you guys so much for what you're doing. Again, we'll have a link in the description if people want to take advantage of that 15% off and give it a try for their pets. And just thank you again for what you guys are doing. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing, that the 15%, they'll see the offline retail, and they'll see that it's built in.
Yeah, the price
So
is
it's already built
into
into that when they go there and purchase.
You don't have to put in a promo code or anything.
Nothing like that.
Oh, okay. So they're not looking for like a little coupon code. Right. It's just all built into the price. Great. Okay. Awesome. Well, Kurt and Kristen, great to see you guys again. Congratulations on the success, and thank you for helping keep our dogs and cats healthy again. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being and doing what you're doing.
Yes.
And helping us get out there and get the word out. We really appreciate that.
You.
My pleasure. And our audience thanks you, by the way. Thank you so much.